What do you want? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Just tell me what you want. It is that easy, Bloody. Just tell me what the fuck you want. What is it?
Hit me, baby. All right. One more time.
So let's go ahead and do the fucking eggs. Thank you for coming for the raid. I appreciate you endlessly. You get a good night's sleep, man. Get a good night's sleep, and you know what? I will see you in your dreams. Let that rockabye you right to bed.
A rockabye.
But hey everybody, welcome in. Welcome into the Bloody and Sutty show. I will be SuttySmash. This is
Bloody the Elf.
And
again, I don't know why I said it that way.
It's all right. It's all right. Just we're gonna run with it. This is the Bloody and Sutty show.
The show for jackasses by jackasses.
We're real good at it. For those of you joining us, we are going to be talking about a couple things today. Got a good show loaded up for you. Today we are actually going to be talking about the music industry and whether or not the greatest hits medium is viable in this day and age in, with the streaming and all that other garbage. Hi. We also have a This Week in Dumb. Bloody's got a story loaded up at least for that.
Deuces.
And we also have a Rotten Tomatoes game loaded up. I will be guessing some scores today, and we are going to be doing doggos. We're going to be movies with amazing dogs to pay homage to the late great Boomer the Dog. For those of you who don't know, Boomer the Dog was my amazing boxer, or our amazing boxer, that we had for just the better part of 12 years. He ended up passing away just a couple days ago, and it's been tough. It's been a tough thing to deal with, but he was an amazing boy. He was the goodest boy that anybody could ever ask for.
Best of all boys. Goddamn good cop, too.
He finally got that retirement he talked so much about. But yeah, so we'll dip into that a bit and talk a bit about that. So we welcome you in, and thank you for being here, guys. So, Buddy, why don't you go ahead and kick this right off? Let's do this thing.
So this week, I got a nice friendly notification from Livewire that that Fall Out Boy has released their second greatest hits record called Believers Never Die, Volume 2. With all the great hits such as Uma Thurman, Immortals, Centuries, My Songs Know What You Did in the Dark, parentheses, Light 'Em Up, and various others. So I was thinking about this, and I wanted to get your input on it.
Yep.
So I was thinking, okay, so the way that music is consumed today is not through buying CDs and shit like that. Everybody does Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, whatever is your flavor of choice.
Sure.
So which gives you the ability to create your own playlist.
Right.
How the fuck are we putting out greatest hits records?
Well, here's the thing, right? So, while I do agree, and that's a valid point that you just made, the latter part of it, in retort, however, I think that the greatest hit is still a viable medium because it gives people an intro point into people's music that they otherwise wouldn't have consumed, and gives them the best of what they are. So, God, I can't think of any off the top of my head that I've dove into that I hadn't followed prior, you know.
Sure.
But a couple good ones, right? Are the Foo Fighters. I love the Foo Fighters. I love fucking Dave Grohl. I love the energy that he puts not only into his music but into his shows. Their greatest hits album is fucking phenomenal. Is it the best songs of all that they've ever done? Probably not. Are they the greatest songs that they've ever put out? There are a lot of them, yeah. But there are a lot of other amazing songs that aren't on there that are fucking fantastic. And it's a good intro point into a band that you otherwise wouldn't have known. For people who have known them years and years and years, probably not. Like the greatest hits compilation or compilations aren't gonna be like a huge selling point because they already know them and have consumed them over several years, sometimes decades. But I think for somebody coming into a band or discovering a new band, that's a good introduction point for them so that they can hear what people consider to be, you know, the best of what they've done and then venture into other albums or songs after that, be it through Spotify or purchasing CDs and all that other garbage. But I mean, it's I think it still has value in today's market, even with you know, Spotify or iTunes or whatnot. Your feelings, feel free to retort back to me.
I 100% disagree.
Really? Ooh.
I think it's stupid. Listen, you can sample music at your leisure now. You don't have to go and buy record after record after record. So you can still, even if you're new to a band, you don't have to go and find their greatest hits because it tells you on the fucking medium what are the most popular songs. Like, you don't have to do that.
But not everybody does that as a thing. Like, you send me Spotify shit all the time, and I listen to Spotify, but I don't use it as in depth as a lot of people do. Like, I will do it to accept lists. My boss's boss sent me a list last night. Am I going to listen to it? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But I mean, if to discover new music, I think it's a good. I really do. I think it's a really good introduction point, and then you can dive into other shit after that. There are people that are younger or use these applications more than people our age do. But we're at that cusp, right? You and I, at the age that we are, we're at that cusp where we either do or we don't. Like, but the people who are younger than us absolutely will use Spotify to the absolute edges of its potential, I guess, to where you are like, oh man, this song is really popular, or this song is really popular. Let's listen to this if I like this band fucking already. And they have algorithms that make suggestions based off of the type of music that you're already listening to. But I mean, that's not like, music isn't really, or shouldn't be, in my opinion, based off of algorithms. Music is a very emotional fucking like a deep charge. Like, some songs will speak to you that don't necessarily speak to me, you know, and it may not be the most popular song. And I think there's something to be said about discovering that on your own without it being suggested to you, just you discovering it and finding it and getting that feeling from whatever song or band or artist or what have you that it is, and doing that, taking that journey on your own, if that makes sense.
Like what you're saying, but you're arguing my point now. You're going to go and do it on your own. Isn't a greatest hits record the exact same thing?
It can be. Absolutely, it can be. Fire Cat, thank you for the follow. That's probably the best thing you've done today, if not this year, definitely this decade. Welcome on in.
It's I think a greatest hits record is the exact same thing as a recommended listen someone else.
It is, but it's a good man.
Lawyered.
yes, and no. But a greatest hits is a good point of to start with a band that you've discovered, and then that gives you the ability and knowledge to be like, oh man, all right, I dig the best thing, what is considered to be the best thing that they've done, and then you go from there to other albums and more obscure songs, and dive deep into that. No? Yes? No?
No, I don't.
Well, no. But that's how I feel, man. And Fall Out Boy is a good example, right? So I like a lot of Fall Out Boy songs. Not all of them are their most famous songs. If you asked me right this minute what songs I like the most, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. But I mean, did they have a greatest hits album before this?
Yeah, this is their second one.
Is it? Okay. I'm gonna ask chat, and I'm also I'm gonna ask you directly, right? So chat, answer this question as well. But have you ever heard a song from a band that you really enjoy, or a band that you don't know that well, but you hear the song and it's just like, wow, that fucking just like struck a fucking chord in me, that fucking hit me deep in my being, and you just want to hear more from that person or those people, that band that composed whatever the fuck it is, that got that deep fucking that emotional response from you. Like, has that happened to you?
Yeah, I actually found the band Nightwish. I found them through the movie The Descent. At the end of that movie,
It's a good fucking movie. I like that movie a lot.
Yeah, and at the end of the movie, the credits, it ran the song Nemo by Nightwish, and I really liked that song. And I didn't at the time. This was whatever year that came out, like 2005.
Sure.
And I think that was it. And in 2005, that was pre-digital music still. Like we're still hard copy. But I didn't know who they were. I didn't know what the song was. And so what I wound up having to do was go to a Tower Records and then find the Descent soundtrack and then essentially buy it and then listen to everything until I heard that song, found that band, and then I was able to go through and get some of their music.
That's fair. I mean, so I have a good example of this. I'm going to talk about what chat's saying right now. So to my point, I when I was a younger Sutty, I used to frequent shows, like different shows that showed various bands and whatnot. I remember going to Ozfest '99, right? And an Ozfest is a concert where there are two separate stages, and a lot of lesser-known bands play to open up for the other ones, and it's an all-day event. Like they start at 10 a.m., they end at 10 p.m. It's a 12-hour fucking concert, and the 10 p.m. is a light fucking ending. It's we're gonna go till midnight with encores and shit.
Yeah.
But Wheezy, yes, exactly. I remember at 11:45 a.m. In Desert Sky Arena in Phoenix, Arizona. I remember seeing a crew of 9 people in coveralls and fucking clown masks and shit coming out and beating the ever-loving shit out of people and beating the ever-loving shit out of each other and blowing my fucking mind with what they were putting out whilst putting on a fucking amazing show. It was a little known band. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're called Slipknot.
Yeah.
So 99 was kind of their breakout year, right? And I remember watching their whole set, which was all of 15, 20 fucking minutes. But they beat the fuck out of each other, and they had such amazing songs that put out, and I was just, I'm fucking, what was it, 15 at the time, and I'm just in mosh pits and just feeling it in my fucking veins, feeling the rage in my fucking being, and I was fucking so excited, and that's all I thought of through the rest of the show. Like, I saw Black Sabbath the last time they were together. I saw fucking Slayer. They were at that fucking show. I saw Kitty, which was actually not terrible. They don't put on a terrible show. Kitty was fun.
Kitty.
Fucking Kitty. I saw Head PE.
Hang on a second.
Mm-hmm.
How many people right now? What's up, chat? How many people know who Kitty is?
That's
God, that band was
song.
They're terrible.
They weren't great, but they were fun to watch. They were good. They put on a good show.
Well, I'm sure they did.
But man, so what I'm saying is they impacted me so hard that I disregarded the rest of the fucking show, right? And as soon as I left that show, I was like, I need to go to fucking Virgin Megastore when that was a thing, and I went out, got their fucking album, and then listened to it on repeat for like a week and a half. And the point I'm trying to get to, right, is it wasn't a greatest hits album, but it's something that I discovered that triggered something in me that I wanted to go out and search for. So I listened to them for other things, and I feel like the greatest hits album. What are you doing?
Like being dead weight.
The greatest hits album is a good way for people to do that for bands that are already established. I agreed they weren't established at that point, and I had discovered them because I went to a show that they happened to be opening for. But it's a good point. It's a really good. She sure did. Samara just dipped her water into my coffee so she could taste it.
Not me.
But I mean, it's a good point to enter into a band's library, and that's just how I feel about it. And Slipknot is the one that I think of, because they did have another album before their self-titled album. It's called
Make, Kill, Feed, Mate, Repeat.
Yep, that's the one. And different singer, a little bit different band member, so it was a different sound, but still very good. But yeah, man, fucking getting in there and discovering a band there's something to be said for that. And I feel like having an algorithm just suggest it to you doesn't give you that same sense of. And I know we're kind of off topic as far as greatest hits albums go, but I feel like it goes hand in hand, like having an algorithm suggest, like, hey, you like this, so you should probably like this. When you find something and it's just that visceral feeling of finding it on your own and realizing how much it affects you or touches you,
Sure.
Clear as mud. As mud.
It's crystal clear, man. I get what you're saying. I just think if you records that aren't sold the way that they used to be, like they're
not.
Did you know that in 2019 vinyl has outsold CDs?
Oh man, you're gonna bring out statistics now. Dope. I did not know that.
So
I
it's
believe it.
Like people don't buy CDs anymore. Like it's just it's not consumed the same way it used to be. So going through the algorithms and stuff like that you're talking about here is the status quo. It's regardless of, doesn't, like, our generation and people our age, like you said, though, are that cusp of what is like, we're gonna go back and forth, but regardless, it's harder to find CDs. A lot of bands don't even print them anymore. So it's like, I mean, they most do, especially ones on labels and stuff, but it's like the CD stores don't exist anymore. Like the Virgin Megastore's gone. Like that's shut down. Tower Records are closing all over the place. FYE's gone. What's the other one?
Sam Goody.
Sam, that's the one I worked at. Good name it. Sam Goodies don't exist anymore. Even Sunco's videos don't work anymore. The sister company, like none of them, all gone because of the way music is consumed is different. Like it's.
You're not wrong, and it might be the purist in me that feels that way, you know. And people in chat are lighting it up, and so I mean, you're absolutely 100% correct. And it's like I said, it's just the purist in me, the purist as far as music goes in me, that wants to have that, and I want future generations to have that same thing that I had a decade, or holy shit, that's 20 years ago now. 20 years ago, the same thing that I had 20 years ago. I want that same trigger to happen in somebody to where they're like, oh my god, I need everything that they've ever put out. I need to consume it right now, and then have to drive and wait to do that. Not be able to just pull up their phone and be like, boop 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 boop, fucking discography, and
it's right there.
it's I don't know, man. I have such fond memories of doing that, not just with Slipknot, but that just happened to be the first one that I thought of off the top of my head. But I have such fond memories of doing that and being able to experience that, and what an impact that had on me in my young life, and the way that it ended up folding out. That it was, I don't want to think that is dead. The CD format in and of itself may be dead, but I don't want to think that the effect that music can have on a person is dead. And it feels like, I know that it's not, but when we talk about it, when we talk about the way that we're talking about it right now, it feels that way. And maybe that's the same way that people felt when vinyl was not a thing anymore and CDs came out. Maybe the medium in which they're released has a huge impact on that for the people who are part of the generation before. And I'm just part of the older crowd, I guess. At this point, I'm an old man now, and it's fucking weird, and I don't like it. And I don't like that you're questioning me, and I take genuine offense to it. And the wee baby Smar is upset, and now she's leaving. So I mean, here we are.
What was the last CD you bought?
Oh, God, it's been forever, man. I haven't bought a CD in forever, but that's not the point. That's not the point. And I'm right there with Quail too. Is I don't really at this time I don't discover new music anymore, and it's sad. And
I got you, fam. I'm gonna feed you, baby bird.
It's because right. And this is what our parents did when we were young. Is they're like, this new shit isn't music. Like this doesn't reach out to you. Fucking these motherfuckers sound like they're auto-tuned, and there's no skill in their lyricism at all anymore. For the most part, I'm not saying universally, but for the most part, there's no depth to the music that's put out anymore where there used to be. Even with fucking metal and shit, there was a passion there, and there was a real feeling that was put behind shit. And now it's just like, I'm richer than you, bitch, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And it's not the same. It's not the same as it was when we were younger. And so I'm in the same boat as Quail. I listen to the same shit that I've listened to for the past 15 years because of that. And it's that in and of itself is upsetting to me. Music isn't the same. The same passion and love isn't put into music the way it was before. As a vast majority, there are exceptions to the rule, but in the vast majority, that's how it is. It's how music exists, and it's upsetting, man.
Right, and I think it's also important to include that the reason why you see that is because of the ease of accessibility that musicians have to be able to put out a record. Where it used to be before, like, you're not putting out a record without a record deal, but now all you need is a computer with $50 worth of hardware, and then you can do your own record. You and I can put out a
record right now.
You want to?
Get the Wee Baby Smar featured in on there? Let's get it. Dude.
And I think I'm being too loud again. But
no, you're good.
The biggest thing to keep in mind is that I think while what am I trying to say? That
I don't know.
it's all still there. I think it's now just the market is dramatically more saturated with mediocrity than it used to be, just because of the ease of it being to release a record, the ability to
That's
put
fair.
something out. Like, it doesn't take. I mean, for $70, you can have a record on every major streaming platform there is. And that's including like production and stuff like that. So it's like, it's not a difficult task to do. So it's wildly more saturated than it used to be. And I think the important takeaway is that with the change in the way that music is now consumed, and that it's now easier to find, like, so I think I now more than ever, I've hit you up with, hey, I found this new band, check them out, and I'll send you a thing. Way more often than I used to. And it's always like, I don't think 20 years ago we would have known who Necronomicon was.
But,
like,
yeah, that's true. But man, I don't know. I don't know.
I would love to still work at a record store and keep, that was the most fun I think I've ever had. But
have fucking fingers on the heartbeat of the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's it. Is I don't feel like I have that anymore, and it's upsetting. And maybe it's part of getting older,
Mm-hmm.
and not feeling as relevant as we did when we were younger, when we were discovering new shit and like, dude, have you heard of this? Blah blah blah. It's like, tell me all about it.
I think too,
it's like
something.
Have you heard of this band that's been out for 10 years?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I'll give it a listen, I guess. Let me take my kid to daycare real quick.
Drop him off. But we got to give a tutor time to do there. But like,
just pull up with a Dimmu Borgir, blare in through the fucking radio. It's like,
I do it every morning.
I'll pick her up at 2. Fucking.
I think too, the thing to keep in mind too about these like generated playlists is that now we don't have to go and buy a record. It's not like for less than
catch it on the radio by chance.
Yeah, now you
which was also such a cool feeling, dude. That was such a cool feeling. You'd be just driving down the road and something plays on the radio, like, holy shit, this is legit. And then you go home and try to discover shit about. I don't know, man. And do you remember? I'm sure people in chat, you guys, and I know Bloody, you do because we've had conversations about it, but not mixtapes per se, where you're making them for somebody else, but where you're trying to get all of your favorite fucking songs on a cassette, where you're just sitting there hovering by the fucking radio, like, got your fingers above the play and record button, like, oh, it's coming, it's, and then fucking
just waiting for the DJ to shut the fuck up a second.
Oh man, it's so good. Like that too. I mean, there's something to be said for that, as opposed to just being like, oh, let me pay 79 cents for the song real quick so I can just get it really easily. And it's I don't know, man, it's just a sign of the times, and it's the ease of everything, information and music is included in that is so much different than when we were growing up. And it's I don't know. I mean, you're right, and people in chat are right. Like the greatest hits, based off of that solely. I don't know, man. It just sucks getting old and not feeling as relevant as we used to, And I think that's a big part of me grasping onto the fucking greatest hits thing is. Because I remember it fondly. I remember greatest hits compilations fondly. But
box sets, remember box sets?
Those were cool. Like that with the, I still have. I have the Queen, both the Queen fucking greatest hits CDs, Volume 1 and 2, the blue and Maroon records, and those I get introduced to as a kid because those came out like early 90s, late mid 90s.
Yeah,
something like that. But I remember getting introduced to them, and that helped me discover Queen as a, young teen and an adult and shit. and that doesn't happen anymore, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, man. So I mean, you guys are all right. The greatest hits compilations as a medium, not viable anymore, right? They're just not.
I kind of feel like it's almost like a cash grab at this point. Like,
you're not wrong. I mean, it is, especially for, right. So I'll be the first to say that with music, and hopefully this never gets to the feds. I don't necessarily attain all of my music or consume all of it. What would be considered 100% legitimately?
it matters.
A lot of music I will download and listen to, and it's yeah, and that's the thing, is it doesn't feel like it really matters anymore.
Doesn't.
And
artists don't make money off the records anymore.
No,
it's all done through merchandise and through merchandise and through touring. That's the way that their money's made. And record labels now don't stress, like, used to be you would make 8 cents for every record you sold, and now you don't sell records anymore. It's all done, and that's all baked into the record deal that you get. Isn't even so much a record deal anymore. Now it's the touring deal that you're going to get through these guys. So it's like, I don't think downloading a record even matters. Like,
yeah. Do you remember Metallica and Napster and all that garbage? That was
yeah. That was still a different time though then too. There wasn't streaming services. Like, that was a big deal. But now it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. You're not wrong, man. Fucking A. So yeah, I guess we agree then at this point. As much as I don't like it being that,
I knew you'd see the light.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Didn't say you had to like it. I just said you had to understand it.
You're not going to enjoy this. This will not be over quickly.
I am not your king.
There it is. Oh God, I'm so glad you got it. I'm so glad you got it. Yeah, so that's how I feel about that. Fucking A. All right, well, now that that's a good kick in the nuts, where do you want to go from here?
Let's do a little This Week in Dumb.
Let's do that. Let's lighten the mood. This Week in Dumb. Pew-pew.
So, this story is out of Singapore. So, the preamble to this story is that there was a block of housing that burnt down, and they were
Section 8 housing.
It might have been. I don't know.
Probably.
But there was an investigation as to why the fire department was not able to put the fire out.
Mm-hmm.
So, the story came out today. Fire hose reels. That's like the on the side of the fire hydrant. Those big. They would break them loose and turn them on and water.
Yeah.
Fire hose reels at the Bukit Batok block had all been padlocked shut to prevent vandalism. So the fire department basically gets there and don't have a key to unlock the things. So they
my God.
End up having to let everything burn down.
Anybody have the key? No? Well, looks like we're watching this bitch burn down. That sucks. Sucks for you.
They wound up having to break the padlocks off. And then once they got one of them off, they turned the fire hydrant on to realize that there was no water in them.
Yep. Good.
Didn't realize they needed water for that.
Was this Detroit? Like RoboCop era Detroit? Because that sounds like a RoboCop era Detroit.
Well, Singapore, so yeah.
Oh yeah. So yes, you did say Singapore earlier. So,
Mhm.
but you know, same.
And then I got a second story here for us. And this one is
Mhm.
out of the UK.
All right.
So it's out of a town called Angus. It says Angus man who tried to fly a drone into the Perth prison claimed he did so because a Romanian circus stole his chihuahua.
What?
So
None of that. Those are all words. Those are all words. But when you string them together like that, they don't make any sense.
mhm. So basically, the police see this drone holding a phone trying to fly into a prison, and the phone was on like camera mode, and this guy,
Can you imagine that? Just people in the tower, like guards in the tower, being like,
what the fuck? So they find this guy who is also homeless, somehow gets a hold of a drone, and then somehow also gets a hold of a cell phone.
mhm.
And he's like in the undergrowth outside, and he had flown this drone in there because he said that the Romanian circus was hiding there with his chihuahua.
Yeah, because and as they're wont to do, they do that.
He
So,
had of
how
course,
else is the Romanian circus going to hide your chihuahua?
prison.
Yeah,
And
duh.
he wound up getting caught, and he has been sentenced with 9 months in the prison.
That same prison.
Mm-hmm. So he gets to go look for his dog.
That's good. At least, hopefully, he finds his dog.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking people are funny, man. They
It
make
is
me laugh.
weak and dumb.
Brr, brr, brr. So we
All
got
right,
up.
man. Moving on. Ready for the next
Yeah.
bit?
Yes, let's do it.
Rotten Tomatoes game.
All right, let's get in there, man. Let's get in there. Before can we take an aside before the Rotten Tomatoes game?
I'd like to.
Let's talk about it. So go ahead and tell the people at home what this Rotten Tomatoes game is about.
Wicked awesome dogs as an
Mhm.
homage to our good friend, the greatest policeman on the force, Boomer the dog.
Yeah, Boomer the dog. So, for those of you that know me, you know that I had a boxer for the better part of 12 years. His name was Boomer the dog, and he passed away just this last, what was it, Tuesday?
Monday.
Monday? Oh, no,
Mhm.
you're right. It was Monday. It was Monday. He passed away Monday in his sleep, just with a quickness, right? It happened real
Mhm.
fast. And took me by complete surprise.
Mhm.
I wasn't expecting it to happen. Marie was at work. I was at home. All the dogs have been fighting off, excuse me, a bit of sickness. And he just got... Dude, are you good if I talk about this? Or
Take your time, brother.
all right. So he had been fighting it off, and in hindsight, right, I had realized over the past week that he hadn't been himself. He was more lethargic than he typically is. He had no interest in food or his ball or his bone or anything. And I had taken a trip to LA, which I talked about last week, and how terrible that went. But I was looking at checking Ring, right?
Mhm.
And I was looking at the dogs because they were still kind of fighting sickness and whatnot.
Sure.
And I was like, fuck, did this thing freeze? Because
Mhm.
I'd look and Boomer would just be staring somewhere for like the entire time that I was watching.
Mhm.
And Marie had talked to me later, like after everything had happened, saying, yeah, he would be out there for like just staring at something for an hour and
Mhm.
not really looking at anything. And the last couple days, I'd go out there and he'd be laying in places that he wouldn't normally lay, and the way that he looked at me wasn't the way that he always looked at me. Like it would just wasn't a lot behind his eyes.
Sure.
Which if you knew Boomer, there was always something. There was always
Mhm.
something there.
He was spry.
Yeah,
Even
yeah, he
at
was a spry
12.
old man. Like
Yeah.
well into his old age. And boxers live to be 8 to 10 years. He was almost 12.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was close, it was close this time, but I never wanted to accept, and no dog owner does, no dog owner wants to be like,
course.
we're getting there, fucking, it's about that time.
Mhm.
And I remember I was, he wasn't eating. So I did the same thing that I did with Freya, where I was. Actually, I did more with Boomer than I did with Freya. I had taken like a multivitamin of Marie's that was like a gummy, and I'd heat it up in some Pedialyte to get the gummy to melt, and I'd make him drink it. So I'd get it in a turkey baster and just squirt it down his throat, so he'd get vitamins and fucking and hydrated from the Pedialyte because he didn't want to eat or drink. And then I made him eat like a raw egg out of that same turkey baster that he was getting all the stuff he needed, like protein and vitamins and hydration and all that. And I was Boomer was always a very he wanted to be around his people constantly. And he got up and tried coming over to me. I was in this chair, and I heard him get up and then just lay back down. And I went in the kitchen. He was just laying there. And so I hung out with him. I was about to start streaming, and I was like, no, I'm gonna hang out with my dog. So I got down, and then I got the turkey baster because it had been about 2 hours, and I was trying to make him drink every couple hours. And when I got the turkey baster with the stuff, he was trying to get up, and I was like, I thought he was just trying to run away from me because I was basically waterboarding my dog. And so I thought he was trying to get away from me, so I helped him over to his bed, and then he laid down, and it was just me and Marie there at the time. Or not Marie, but me and Samara there at the time. So I walked over with him, helped him lay down in his bed, and he just looked just so tired, man. Like he was fighting to keep his head up, and he looked like Michael J. Fox. Like he was just like real tired, and I was like, just lay down, dude. Just lay down, it's fine. And then he laid down, and then he wasn't blinking like the way that they blink when you're petting, like dogs blink when you pet them. So I kind of had an idea, like I was like, oh fuck, this is what's happening right now. So I was petting him, and I was like, and Boomer always aimed to please. Like he aimed to make sure that everybody was happy, you know. And I was petting him, and I was like, dude, it's okay, man. Like we're gonna be okay. Like you just fucking lay down, you rest. Like we're gonna be fine. Whatever you have to do, you do. And it sounds stupid, like not being religious and all that, you know. It doesn't sound, you know, rational. But in my head, as an owner, it felt like me telling him that it was okay to go. That's when he went, because it was like a minute or two after that, and people were texting me prior to that. I was like, hey, I'm nursing Boomer back to health, and all these dogs are sick, fucking dogs, blah blah blah. And my boss and one of the guys who works for me, we were talking back and forth via text, and they're like, oh, he's gonna make it, he'll be fine, don't worry. And then it was like 15 minutes later, I was like, nope, he's gone. Like he is gone. They're like, what? Because he like. It's surprising. It's surprising because of the type of dog that Boomer was and the mentality he always had. And it was tough, man. It was real tough. I was a fucking mess for a bit. And you know, Samara didn't understand what was going on, but her and I were there with him, and we're petting him and being like, hey, it's okay. And Samara's just like, Boomer? I'm fucking patting on him with straws like drums, like she always did. And he seemed happy that she was there, you know. And I'm glad I was there, because if I hadn't been there and I'd been in LA, especially with me missing my flight the first time and all that shit, if it had happened while I was gone, I don't know how I would have been able to forgive myself, you know. And it was tough, and I kind of lost it a little bit, but it was funny because I was crying like not like an insane person, but I was doing one of those you know.
Sure. And
the baby was didn't know what was happening, so she was making fun of me, and by mocking me, she was just like, ah! I was like, God, he's such an asshole. But yeah, so we ended up Marie ended up coming home, and everybody said their goodbyes to him and all that other stuff, and I left him inside. And because it was cool enough inside, I was planning on burying him out in the yard. So I did. The next day, I got up, and I had actually asked you to help me do that the next day. And You were sick, and couldn't make it. Yeah.
I was in bed for 29 straight hours, really sick. It wasn't like I'm not feeling well, man.
Yeah, no.
Good luck to you.
But here's the thing, right? So even if you weren't sick, I'm glad that you weren't able to make it, because that was something that I feel in hindsight was better doing on my own and in my own time, because I spent the better part of 3 hours digging that hole for him, because I wanted to make sure that, one, it was perfect, because it's where he's gonna be, and not him, but his body, So it was where he was gonna be, and I wanted to make sure, two, that I didn't have to remeasure or redig it. I didn't want to bring him out here and be like, oh, he doesn't fit, and then have to redo it, So I mean, I spent a long time out there digging this hole, and like at the end of the day, or towards the end of it, I realized that I was putting off doing everything, like finishing it, because at the end of it, I could have fit in that hole. Like you could have buried me there and everything would have been fine. But I was like, all right, you gotta let's do this, pull the trigger, get in there. And that part was rough. That was probably the roughest, because before that he was just in his bed. Like he died in his bed, and he laid in it like he always did, like a fucking idiot, with his face laying off of the padding. So it just looked like he was sleeping, and getting him out there was the toughest, because it was out the Arcadia door around the side of the house, so I had to drag him on his bed because he was stiff, and I had to get him all the way over there. And Loki and Freya, the puppies, they weren't any help. Like when the thing is, right when he passed, right, the puppies were it. And again, this seems crazy, but a couple minutes after he had passed, they wanted to break down the goddamn glass. Like they sounded like they were trying to break in.
They know. Like they're.
It's weird.
I don't think that's
weird,
crazy.
right?
I think they know.
It's weird. And I opened the door a few minutes after he had gone, and because I wanted the puppies to, see him and smell him and whatnot. And Freya is insane, so she just licked him like 8 times and then ran around the house like an idiot. Loki, though, he's the more sensitive of the two. He was trying to lift him up with his nose, and I was like, okay, you gotta go back outside.
Oh no,
you gotta go back outside. And so he went. I got them back outside, but then the next day when I got everything dug and put him out there, that was the hardest part because of the finality of it.
Sure.
He wasn't in the house anymore, and his stuff wasn't there, and I had him in there, and then I was terrified, right, because I was doing it by myself, and he wasn't a small dog.
Oh, he was very big.
I was worried about dropping him, and if I would have dropped him, I would have lost it. I would have gone insane in that hole, and but luckily I had dug the hole deep enough to where it was like right here, so I just had to be like whoop. So I got him in there, and then I got out to go, because I started thinking about it. I was like, I can't just throw dirt on him, and as I got up to go talk to Marie about it, I was at that point I was crying like an insane person, and then Loki jumped into the hole with him and lay down in his bed, and I was like, oh god, man, you gotta get out of here. you gotta get up. And because it's too, the thing is, the hole was too deep for Loki to have been able to get out on his own, so it was very important for him to get in there to him, and I was like, oh man, no, you can't, like, you gotta, I need you out of there, and you just fucking follow me. So I went in and we got a blanket for him, and I buried him with his ball and his bone, and which were very important things to him. And
I think that was the understatement of the year. That dog was like, hey, I got this bone, check it out.
I think you should take a look at it. Fucking yeah, no, he was. Time. Yeah. But yeah, man, like I did that, and then I got Marie out there, and we got a blanket to cover him and whatnot, and I tucked him in it, and then we buried him right outside Samara's room, so that again, I'm not super religious, but Maru was like, I think it'd be good if we buried him outside. That way, he's always looking over her or the other baby, and like he's just there always, you know. And other people had talked to me and saw or thought that was a really good thought and put into that, and were trying to reassure me that there's something for him afterwards, you know, which made me feel better. Like, I don't know if I 100% believe it. I'm always open to it, but it's and I hope for his, not just his sake, but other people's sake, that there's something after this. You know, I don't have enough myself to be definitively, oh yeah, absolutely, there's something after this. I hope there is, but I don't know, and I hope for his sake that there is, because he was the goodest boy, you know. And it's been rough the last couple days or this week, because little things will hit me, you know. Like I texted today, and today was Aiden's birthday, and we were cleaning the house and whatnot, and I was mopping, and I mopped his area where he usually drools and snores and all this other shit, and I mopped up all his drool spots and where his water was and stuff. And he's a boxer, so he had like deep jowls, so stuff always came out of his mouth. And I mopped up all the droplets on the floor, and it hit me at that moment that I was like, these are the last fucking like boomer droplets that I'm gonna be ever mopping up. And it made me really upset, and I was like, it hit me really hard, like way harder than I thought it was gonna, because of the finality. Like, he's out there, he's buried, he's gotten most of his, and that part I was okay with, but there's like it feels like I'm removing things of him from the house that we lived in, and it makes it really hard, and it's upsetting in varying degrees, and I don't know, man, like it's just been tough. It's been tough, but I mean, I'm okay for the most part. I'm a lot better, and selfish as it is, I feel like this one's easier than Victor was, because I had to, like, you know, schedule an appointment for Victor, and I had to choose. Whereas with Boomer, I feel like it was his decision to go after I told him that it was okay. So it yeah, man, it was as good as this could have gone, as these things can go, you know? Like, it wasn't ideal by any stretch of the imagination, but it was you know, as good as it can go. And we're all trying to be okay. You son of a bitch. And the hardest part, I think, is going to be telling the girls, because I still haven't told them, and they don't know a life without him, because they're 12 and 13 and he was 12.
Sure.
But, you know, fucking getting through it and whatnot. But yeah, that's long story short. That's why we're doing the Doggo Rotten Tomatoes game.
You had messaged me today, and I cracked a joke with you, and I wanted to make sure that that lightened your mood.
What joke was it? I don't remember.
It was my response to when you were saying that I don't need an invitation to come over. And that you said, I'm going to read it. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
You said, nah, I'm okay, dude. I mean, we're doing Aiden's birthday party dealy, and we're obviously more than welcome to come over. You don't have to. We're just getting ready now. Also, you are one person that never has to ask to come over. You can just show up, and we'll always be happy to see you. And then I sent you my joke after that.
Send nudes?
Send nudes.
Oh, okay. Did you see what I sent you after that?
It was hot.
Oh, okay. For those, you can go ahead and put it in post right here. It's just me holding a beer can between my legs with my legs up. I was gonna try to hold my legs up and take a picture of like my anus under, like, over shorts, right? But the whole family was here. So I was trying to be as discreet as I could, and then I realized my flash was on. I was like, "Oh, they saw anyway." Fucking
just shot us.
Yep.
All right, for the people in chat, it's just a picture of his crotch.
But my legs are up. Look at that; they're sticking straight out.
No, it was good.
Ah, Christ, so good. All right. So anyway, Rotten Tomato. Actually, hold on. Let me grab some more coffee real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You good with that?
Yeah.
6.5 hours later.
Mm-hmm. Let's get in there. Rotten Tomatoes game. Go ahead, and now that we're back in it, to win it, go ahead and explain the score.
All right. You're basically going to go through 5 different movies, and we will guess the score of the critics. Now, this is for every point that you are off, you gain a point. Now, the scoring is based off of golf score. You want the lowest score possible. For every percentage you are off, you gain a point, plus or minus. However, if you guess the score exactly correct, which is very rare, but yet been done twice by the big smash right there, you get an actual 5-point deduction. So it helps get that score down. So for instance, the one that I always make reference to is Gone in 60 Seconds. If you were to guess 30% on that, you would gain 5 points because this movie score is actually 25. Clear as crystal?
Clear as mud.
Clear as a hooker's heels? All right. So again, this episode is themed after badass dogs, as an homage to our great boomer. So, your first film, are you ready?
I am.
All right. Now, in 8th grade, Josh discovers he has a great throwing arm and tries out for his school football team. It is then soon to discover that his dog, Buddy, can also make impossible catches, and the two become an unstoppable force. However, an evil duo of Russian circus managers attempt to kidnap Buddy and use him for the main attraction, while the Timberwolves make it to the championship. Can Josh save Buddy before the big game? This is directed by Richard Martin, starring Tim Conway.
Who cares?
From 1998. Air Bud 2, Golden Receiver.
Now, the greatest three-point shooter ever to walk on 4 legs is tackling a whole new ball game.
What's this?
Got a new wide receptor for you.
Oh my god. I've never seen this movie. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm sure it was absolutely terrible. Let's call it rotten at 36%.
Okay. Air Bud
good dog movies.
was indeed rotten at 21%.
Ah, man, I was gonna say 26, but I thought I'd give it.
Should have done that.
No, terrible idea.
Now, fun fact on this one was the lady who sang the national anthem at the beginning of the second football game was imitating Roseanne Barr's famous off-key performance at a 1990 Major League Baseball game at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, California, between the Padres and Cincinnati Reds.
Dope.
Okay, so there really wasn't a lot to go on in that movie. That was the best.
That's fair. I've had a couple of those. I get that. Oh, Christ. Fucking Air Bud. Not just Air Bud. Air Bud 2. The second one. Might as well said Sharknado 4.
The first one had much better reviews, so I was like, nope, I'm not using that.
Can't do that one.
Nope. All right. Ready for your next film?
I am.
After an acrimonious breakup, the Mr. Inc. game is individually brought to an island resort to investigate strange goings-on. This film is directed by Raja Gosnell, starring Matthew Lillard, Freddie Prinze Jr., and Sarah Michelle Gellar. From 2002, the year of our Lord, Scooby-Doo. The original.
Second one?
Nope.
Oh, Oh, the original one. Okay.
From Warner Brothers Pictures,
Mystery Inc. reunites.
Scooby and his crew are back on the case.
Run! Like I'm trying, buddy.
And now, on an island of mystery,
Welcome to Spooky Island.
We're here to solve a mystery.
Rory.
What's fresh skin 16 and above?
16 up.
All right. I'm going to say rotten at 51%. Because as much as I wanted this movie to be a thing, right? I loved Scooby-Doo as a kid. And I feel like Matthew Lillard did a phenomenal job as Shaggy. You know? Second only to the legendary Casey Kasem. Yeah, it was a terrible movie. It was not very well executed at all.
Well, the film is indeed rotten at 30%.
Oh, God. I thought people's nostalgia would boost that up just a
I think it made it worse.
Yeah, maybe. That's fair, because I just said that.
Mhm.
So was I off on that one?
21.
You said 30? Yeah. Ugh.
And the director, Raja Gosnell, wanted a real-life couple to play Daphne and Fred. His first choice was Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. Freddie didn't originally want to do the movie because he felt it wouldn't live up to the Scooby-Doo cartoons. Sarah Michelle talked him into it.
Because of course she did.
Bitch.
Hot off of The Grudge from years prior.
What year did The Grudge come out? 2004? This was just before.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, never mind then.
Mm-hmm.
Really helped her take her career back off.
Oh, yeah, it did great. All right, you ready for your next film?
Yes, sir.
While on vacation in Mexico, Chloe, a ritzy Beverly Hills Chihuahua, finds herself lost and in need of assistance in order to get back home.
I thought we were doing badass dog movies.
Dude, these dogs are badass. This director, again, Raja Gosnell. Starring,
it is.
Starring Drew Barrymore, Andy Garcia, George Lopez, Cheech Marin, Edward James Olmos, and Luis Guzman from 2008, Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
Where no one is more pampered and privileged than the Beverly Hills Chihuahuas.
It's not easy to find a mate with papers. Hey, talk to the paw.
But Poppy is the one dog who's his own man.
Corazon!
Oh.
You are lovely!
Who is that hunk of Chihuahua?
If you ever need someone to lick inside your ears, I would be most honored.
Woof.
Dope. I'm gonna say rotten. Again. 37%.
Beverly Hills Chihuahua is indeed rotten. Surprise! At 41%. Good job.
Ooh, that wasn't bad. Not terrible. Not terrible.
And this was actually Raja Gosnell's third talking dog movie he's ever directed since his live-action movie Scooby-Doo in 2002 and its sequel 2000.
And none
Scooby-Doo
of them
2.
worked out for him? How weird.
That's the one.
Or the other one. What was the other one?
Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2.
Oh, okay, well.
Monsters Unleashed.
With Scrappy Doo. He's a featured artist.
Oh, I don't think he's directed anything since then.
Wow. No way. Oh no. But why?
You ready for your next one?
Yep.
The canine star of a fictional sci-fi action show that believes his powers are real embarks on a cross-country trek to save his co-star from a threat he believes is just as real. This was directed by Byron Howard and Chris Williams, starring John Travolta and Miley Cyrus in 2008.
Oh god, both. Yeah, I like this movie. I actually really like this movie. Did you see this one?
Oh yeah, many times.
He's the star of the biggest show in Hollywood.
She's still in danger.
The only problem is,
Hold on, Penny.
he thinks it's all real.
Don't let him out. He's never been off the set before. I'm coming, Penny.
Production of the hit television show Bold shut down today when its star dog went missing.
This one was fresh. Only just. I'm gonna say, well, not only just. It was the lower end of fresh. I'm gonna say 74.
Said what? Sorry, say that again.
74. 7-4.
So, Bolt was a Pixar movie.
It was.
You fun, done, fucked up.
God damn it! It's got to be like 93%.
89%.
God damn it! I forgot it was Pixar, and I forgot the rule. Pixar movies are always
guess 90.
119%. Yeah.
And in this film, actually, Miley Cyrus was not the first choice as Penny. Chloe Grace Moretz, you know who she is?
I do.
She was actually had gone through and voiced the entire film before Miley was placed on the project, in which they had to go and then redo the whole thing.
Awesome.
And when Bolt is threatening Mittens from the overpass, unless she tells him where Penny is, there's the bus from Speed 2525 passes underneath at 50.
No shit, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love those little tidbits that that Pixar throws into their shit.
All right, buddy, this is it. Don't get scared. This one's going to harken back to a previous episode of the Bloody and Sutty show. When Miami dentist Ted Brooks learns that his birth mother passed away and that he was named in her will, he travels all the way to Alaska to claim his inheritance. Rather than a large chunk of change that most people would expect, Ted instead receives his mother's pack of the Howdy Sled Dogs and her property. From 2002, starring Cuba Gooding Jr.,
of course it is.
Cisco, and James Corbin, and the great Michael Bolton. Directed by Brian Levant, 2002 Snow Dogs.
They're about to get a new owner. A dentist from Miami?
Pack up your big city butt and go back.
Fucking Snow Dogs. Oh man, I think this was this the beginning of Cuba Gooding Jr.'s downfall?
Yes.
There was this one, and then there was that other boat movie that he was in, where he had to play a gay, or where he was pretending to be a gay guy. I think it was just called Boat Trip.
So heinous.
I remember. So as an aside, the thing about Boat Trip that I remember the most is he was pretending to be a gay guy, and he was with this beautiful Mexican woman, right? And when she left, he just nutted right out of a window, right out of a fucking window on the boat, and was like, huh? See Cuba Gooding Jr.'s ass, and then somebody like, oh, was that a bird? Like, it made me laugh a lot. Like, it was just real crude, terrible humor, but I was like,
that's funny.
What you did there, I see it. But Snow Dogs, I don't know that I ever saw that movie.
Did you need to?
No, sure didn't. I'm gonna say it's rotten, obviously. Let's call it 22%, because I can't think that it's better than Gone in 60 Seconds.
You'd be happy to know that Snow Dogs was indeed rotten.
Good.
At the same exact score as our favorite movie of all time.
Oh, God damn it.
The Boondock Saints at 22%.
What? I got it?
You're off by 3.
I thought it said 22. I said 20.
You said 22. It's at 25%.
Oh, okay. Well, fuck you, man.
My bad.
You got me so excited.
No, you're right. Snow Dogs was rated higher than our favorite movie of all time.
Awesome.
And fun fact about this film is that most of the dogs in Snow Dogs went on to star in 8 Below with Paul Walker. This movie was allegedly better, but I don't believe it.
That's fucking terrible.
It's like 80%. All right, let's calculate you up here.
Am I under 100? I feel like I'm under 100.
Yeah.
Not by much.
3 for Snow Dogs. You got 15 for Bolt.
Oh, wait, no.
That puts you at 18.
No. Oh, was it 15?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Bolt's 89, you guess 74. That's 15. 15
okay.
threes, 18.
Yep.
And then he scored. Did good on Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
I did.
4 points on that, so that puts you at 22.
Okay.
Scooby-Doo, you doubled your score with another 21, so that puts you at 43.
Bullshit.
And then you got another 15 points from Airbud, Gold Receiver. That puts you at a respectable 58 points.
That's not terrible. That's better than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Not
Good
the
job,
worst.
buddy.
Not the worst, man. Christ. Well, there it is.
How'd chat do you? Everybody do okay?
Yeah. People at home participated. Go ahead and put your scores down in the comments. Let us know how you did, where you fucked up. Did you think
What
that
movie
Scooby-Doo,
surprised you?
Well, yeah. Did you think Scooby-Doo was a classic, as I did, or
That movie was a pile of
or was it Airbud 2 Golden Receiver that threw you off?
Was any of these your favorite movie? And if it was,
yeah,
I can
let
subscribe.
us know. Let us. Let us know. We're interested. We're interested to hear about you and yours.
So much.
You ready to?
Ready to bring it home?
Bring it home. Bring it on in. For the Bloody and Sutty show. Thank you guys for coming in. Appreciate you. Appreciate you coming through. Feel free to like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed what we do. We read each and every comment that is listed or that you guys leave. So please feel free to also contribute in that way.
Slap like now.
That's good because I forgot what I was saying just now. Just left my mind. But whatever you guys are getting into today, or this week, or this month, or this year, I hope it finds you well. If it doesn't, know that everything's gonna be fucking okay. You guys are gonna get through it, and we are here to help keep you entertained in the meanwhiles. Outside of that, man, you guys have a great night. I have been SuttySmash.
I'm Bloody the Elf.
Bloody the Elf.
And this is Bloody the Elf for SuttySmash and Wee Baby Samara. Reminded you, keep it posy.
You